What if I told you that at 75, you could be living your most vibrant, connected, and purposeful life yet? What if the word nursing home became as outdated as a rotary phone? Friends, something extraordinary is happening right now. Seniors across America are quietly rewriting the rules of aging. They're tossing out the old playbook that said, your golden years meant isolation, decline, and giving up control. I'm talking about real people, real stories, real change. Margaret, who's 78, isn't sitting in a sterile facility watching game shows. She's living in a community she helped design, tending her garden at dawn, and hosting book clubs that run past midnight. Robert, who's 81, didn't move to Florida to wait for the end. He moved into a tech smart home that keeps him safe while he paints masterpieces in his converted garage studio. These aren't exceptions. They're part of 7 powerful trends that are transforming how we age in America. And here's the beautiful part. It's not too late for you to be part of this revolution. So settle in, get comfortable, because what you're about to discover might just change everything you thought you knew about growing older. Trend 1. The rise of intentional senior communities. Picture this. You're not alone in some corporate-owned facility where strangers make decisions about your meals, your schedule, your life. Instead, you're surrounded by friends who chose to age together. Real friends. People who share your values, your dreams, your determination to live fully. This is happening right now, all across America. In small towns and big cities, groups of seniors are pooling their resources and creating something beautiful. They're building intentional communities where dignity isn't negotiable and independence isn't surrendered. Take Sarah and her 5 friends in North Carolina, all in their 70s, all tired of living alone in houses that felt too big and too quiet. They bought land together. Not a lot of land, just enough for 6 small homes arranged around a shared garden. Each woman has her own space, her own kitchen, her own bedroom, her own front door. She can close when she needs solitude. But here's the magic. When Sarah fell and broke her wrist last winter, she wasn't discovered 3 days later by a worried neighbor. Maria heard her call out and was there in minutes. Not because she had to be, because she chose to be. We decided, Sarah told me, that we didn't want to grow old in silence. We wanted to laugh together. We wanted to be seen. That's what these communities offer, not just care, connection. These aren't fantasy projects dreamed up by architects who've never been 70. They're designed by seniors, for seniors, with seniors. Every detail reflects what matters when you've lived long enough to know what doesn't. Wide hallways? Yes, but not hospital-wide. Natural light? Everywhere possible. Common spaces that bring people together? Absolutely. But also private retreats where you can disappear with a good book. The psychology here is profound. When we age, society often makes us feel invisible, useless, like we've been put on a shelf. But in these intentional communities, you're needed. Your stories matter. Your wisdom has value. Your presence makes the whole place more alive. And here's what might surprise you. It's affordable. When you share resources, when you eliminate corporate profits, when you focus on what actually matters instead of what looks impressive in a brochure, you can live well for less. Cities are starting to pay attention too. Zoning laws are changing. Permits are getting easier. Because officials are realizing something important. When seniors thrive in community, everyone wins. Trend 2. Technology that serves, not surveil. Let me tell you about David. He's 79, lives alone, fiercely independent, and he's got no intention of moving anywhere. But David's got something his father never had: technology that works with him, not against him. Every morning, David makes coffee. He's done it for 50 years. It's his ritual, his moment of peace before the day begins. Now here's the beautiful part. If David doesn't make that coffee by 9:30, his daughter gets a gentle message. Not an alarm, not a panic, just a quiet heads up that something might be different today. Usually, she'll just text, "Dad, everything okay?" And usually, David will laugh and say he slept in, or he went for an early walk, or he was on the phone with his brother. But last month, that little message probably saved his life. David had fallen in the bathroom. Nothing broken, but he couldn't get up. That gentle technology alert brought help quickly and quietly. This isn't science fiction. This is today. Smart sensors tucked discreetly under rugs. Voice assistants that remind you to take your medication without nagging. Lights that automatically brighten when you get up at night, preventing falls before they happen. And none of it feels invasive. None of it treats you like a patient. Remember when getting to the doctor meant half a day gone? The waiting room, the drive, the exhaustion afterward. Now, Linda, who's 74 and manages diabetes, checks in with her specialist from her kitchen table. She sends her daily readings with the touch of a button. When something needs adjusting, they discuss it over video chat while she sips her morning tea. "I feel more in control of my health now than I did 20 years ago," she says. "Technology gave me my power back." But here's what I find most moving about this trend. It's not about the gadgets. It's about what the gadgets make possible. Connection, independence, peace of mind for your children without giving up your privacy. And affordability? Many of these tools cost less than a month in a care facility. Some are covered by Medicare. Local governments are investing in them because they've figured out something important. It's cheaper and kinder to help people stay in their homes than to move them into care too soon. Aging in place used to mean sitting in the same chair, watching the same shows, waiting for someone to check on you. Not anymore. Now it means your home grows with you, supports you, keeps you safe while keeping you free. Trend 3. When generations choose to live together. Here's something that might surprise you. More and more families are discovering that 3 generations under one roof isn't a step backward. It's a step towards something beautiful. Meet Patricia, who's 72. 2 years ago, when her husband passed, she faced a choice that too many of us know too well. Stay alone in a house full of memories, or move to a place where she'd be safe but lonely. Her daughter Emma had a different idea. They converted the lower level of Emma's home into a private apartment. Not a basement, a real home, with its own entrance, its own kitchen, windows that let in morning light. Patricia has her independence, her books, her space to think and remember and be herself. But she also has something precious. She has family life flowing around her. Laughter from upstairs, her grandson's footsteps racing down the hallway, the smell of Emma's cooking drifting through the house. "I feel younger," Patricia tells me. "Not because I'm trying to be young, but because I'm around people who are fully alive." This isn't about necessity. It's about choice. These families aren't thrown together by crisis. They're coming together because they've discovered something our grandparents knew. There's strength in numbers. There's joy in proximity. There's healing in being needed. Emma doesn't have to worry if her mother took her heart medication. Patricia gets to read bedtime stories to her grandson, not just on holidays, but on ordinary Tuesday nights when magic happens in the mundane. And cities are catching on. Oregon has housing developments designed around this idea. Duplexes where older and younger families live side by design. Shared gardens, community rooms. Monthly potlucks where generations mix and stories flow. Even urban planners are adapting. Zoning laws are changing to allow granny flats, small, separate units on existing properties. Families don't have to choose between caring for aging parents and maintaining their own space. But here's what moves me most about this trend. I've watched it heal relationships that seemed broken beyond repair. Parents and adult children who hadn't really talked in years, suddenly rediscovering each other. Not through big dramatic conversations, but through daily life. Morning coffee, evening walks, shared meals where stories emerge naturally. Living together, with enough space and clear boundaries, can mend old wounds and build new memories. It's a quiet antidote to the loneliness that creeps in when we believe we're no longer needed. Trend 4. Affordable senior co-housing communities. There's a quiet revolution happening, and it starts with a simple question. What if you could age with people you actually like? Not strangers assigned to you by an intake coordinator. Not residents you tolerate because you have no choice. People you genuinely enjoy being around. That's the heart of the co-housing movement that's sweeping across America. Picture this. 12 seniors, ranging from their mid-60s to early 80s, pool their resources to buy land outside Minneapolis. They build a circle of small cottages facing a central courtyard. Each person has their own space, private, comfortable, theirs. But they also share certain things. A large kitchen for community meals twice a week. A library stocked with books they've all loved. A workshop where Henry, who's 79, teaches others to build birdhouses that they sell at the farmer's market. It's like college, says Margaret, who's 70, but with better cooking and fewer all-nighters. These aren't random neighbors thrown together by circumstance. They're people who've chosen to be part of something intentional, something kind, something that says, I want to age with dignity, surrounded by people who see me as a whole person. The rules are simple and self-created. Shared meals twice a week. You come if you want. Skip if you don't. Weekly check-ins. Just a quick, how are you doing? That keeps everyone connected. Mutual support for errands or appointments. Because when you're part of a community, help flows naturally. No staff breathing down your neck. No management company scheduling your life. Just a circle of peers who look out for each other in ways that feel natural, not intrusive. Henry hadn't felt this kind of belonging since his military days. We sit around the fire pit on Friday nights, he says. We share food, argue about politics, laugh until our sides hurt. When one of us needs help, someone's always nearby, but no one's in your business unless you invite them in. This model works because it gives you 3 things many seniors lose after retirement: autonomy, social contact, and a sense that you still contribute something valuable to the world. And here's the beautiful part. It's affordable. When you split maintenance costs, grow your own vegetables, and share resources, you can live well for less. It's not about being cheap. It's about being smart. These communities also address one of the deepest fears many of us carry, the fear of being found alone after an accident or health emergency. In co-housing, it's not just about proximity. It's about awareness. If your lights aren't on by 9 in the morning, someone notices, not to invade your privacy, but to check if you need help. Cities are starting to support this movement too, easing zoning restrictions, offering grants to get these initiatives off the ground. Because they're realizing what we've always known. Communities take care of their own better than institutions ever could. Trend 5. High-tech aging in place devices. Let me introduce you to Dorothy. She's 81, had hip surgery last year, chose to recover at home instead of a rehabilitation facility. Her son installed what he calls her invisible support team. Motion sensors that learn her daily patterns, medication reminders that speak to her in her late husband's recorded voice, a smart doorbell that lets her see and talk to visitors without getting up. I didn't feel watched, Dorothy tells me. I felt supported. I could rest, heal, and stay in my own space. I wasn't just a patient. I was me. That's the revolution happening in homes across America right now. Technology that protects without intruding, that helps without taking over. That keeps you safe while keeping you free. Smart bathroom tiles that detect standing water before you slip. Light strips that illuminate your path to the kitchen at 3 in the morning. Even toilets that monitor your health and send updates to your doctor, all without you having to do anything differently. Voice-activated assistants have become companions for people who live alone, not just for playing music or checking the weather, but for real support. Remind me to call Susan at 2 o'clock. Turn off all the lights. Call my daughter. For people with arthritis or limited mobility, being able to control their environment with their voice isn't just convenient. It's liberating. And fall detection has evolved far beyond those clunky devices you wear around your neck. New systems learn your movement patterns. If you fall, or if something seems off, like you haven't moved from your chair in 4 hours, they send a gentle alert to your emergency contact. But here's what I find most remarkable. These tools aren't designed by engineers who've never been 70. They're created with seniors in mind. That means no cameras invading your privacy, no complicated interfaces that require a computer science degree. Just simple, respectful automation that supports your independence. The best part? You don't have to become tech-savvy to benefit. Your children or grandchildren can set these systems up for you. They'd rather know you're safe than get a call from the emergency room. These aging-in-place technologies are already replacing the need for many types of institutional care. In the next 5 to 10 years, they'll be as common as smoke detectors. More seniors will stay in their homes, not out of stubbornness, but because their homes will evolve to support them. It's not about gadgets for the sake of gadgets. It's about choosing tools that quietly protect you so you can live more fully. Trend 6. Community co-living spaces. Not everyone wants to age in total solitude, but not everyone wants to be told when to eat, what to do, and who they're allowed to see. That's why one of the most exciting developments in senior living is the rise of co-living communities. Think of it as intentional shared housing, but with more wisdom, more privacy, and definitely better conversation than you'd find in any college dorm. The idea is beautifully simple. Rather than live alone and rely on strangers for help, you live with others around your age who understand what you're going through. You split expenses. You cook together when you feel like it. You respect each other's independence, but look out for one another in quiet, natural ways, like watering the plants when someone's sick, or simply being there to talk over coffee when the world feels too quiet. Meet the Golden Girls of Oregon. That's what the local newspaper called them. 4 women in their 70s who bought a Victorian house together. Each claimed a bedroom. They share the kitchen, living room, and a sunroom that's become their favorite place to read and chat. When I asked if it felt strange living with roommates at their age, Betty, who's 74, laughed. "Honey, we've lived enough years to know what we don't want. We want peace, we want company, and we want control over our own lives. That's exactly what we built." These arrangements often start organically. Friends who've known each other for years realize they're all facing similar challenges. Empty houses that feel too big, fixed incomes that don't stretch as far as they used to, days that feel too long and too quiet. So they pool their resources and create something better together. The financial benefits are real. Rent, utilities, and groceries split 4 ways. Streaming services shared. Group rates for house cleaning. In areas where housing costs have skyrocketed or retirement funds run thin, this arrangement provides breathing room without sacrificing dignity. But the real wealth is in the companionship, the laughter echoing through the house, the feeling of being seen and valued, the security of knowing that if you don't come down for breakfast, someone will check on you, not because they have to, but because they care. These co-living spaces work because they're built on mutual respect and clear boundaries. House meetings to discuss issues, schedules for shared spaces, agreement on guests, noise levels, and personal space. It takes maturity to make it work. But if you've raised children, managed a household, navigated marriage, and survived loss, you've already developed the skills you need. The rewards, warmth, connection, affordability, and the daily proof that you're not invisible far outweigh any learning curve. Trend 7. Wellness-focused retirement villages. What if aging wasn't about decline, but about reinvention? What if your community was built entirely around helping you thrive, not just survive? That's the vision behind a new generation of wellness-focused retirement villages that are changing how we think about growing older. These aren't the Florida golf cart communities of decades past. These are purpose-built villages that integrate movement, nutrition, social engagement, and mind-body wellness into daily life. And they do it with style, intention, and genuine understanding of what it means to age well. At the center of these communities, you'll find wellness centers that offer Tai Chi at sunrise, group meditation at noon, nutrition counseling on Thursdays, and community gardening workshops on weekends. These places understand that healthy aging isn't just about avoiding illness. It's about maintaining vitality and, where possible, building new strength. The design of these villages reflects everything we've learned about healthy aging. Walking paths that encourage movement without feeling like exercise. Lighting that supports aging eyes. Colors and textures that create calm and energy in all the right places. Even the placement of benches is intentional, frequent enough for rest, positioned to encourage conversation. But here's what sets these places apart. They foster purpose. Residents aren't just filling time. They're mentoring young people from nearby schools, leading community events, forming clubs around woodworking, storytelling, or plant-based cooking. There's a rhythm of contribution that makes every day feel meaningful. Grace, who's 7 and moved into one of these villages last year, puts it perfectly. "I'm not waiting to die here. I'm learning to live better." The psychology behind these communities is profound. Instead of segregating older adults from the rest of society, many of these villages are integrated into broader communities. Children walk through on their way to school. Young families live in adjacent neighborhoods. Generations mix naturally, organically. This matters more than we might realize. When older adults are seen as valuable contributors rather than people to be managed, they act like valuable contributors. They stand taller, engage more, stay healthier longer, and the results speak for themselves. Studies show that residents of these wellness-focused communities stay out of hospitals longer, maintain independence more successfully, and report higher levels of life satisfaction than their peers in traditional retirement settings. Of course, not every one of these places is affordable yet, but the trend is moving in the right direction. Nonprofits, city partnerships, and foundations are stepping in to build accessible versions, especially in areas where older populations are growing rapidly. The future of aging won't be rows of hospital beds and medication schedules. It will be community gardens, conversation circles, and fitness centers where the instructors actually understand what a 75-year-old body can and can't do. And here's the most encouraging sign of all. Many of these wellness villages have waiting lists. Not because people are desperate for care, but because they're excited about the possibility of aging well, together, with dignity and joy. If you're in your 60s, 70s, or beyond, you've probably heard someone say, "Just prepare for the nursing home." Maybe you've even said it yourself. But today, we've seen that there's a very different future opening up. A future where aging doesn't mean giving up control, but gaining new options. Where you can live surrounded by friends, stay active, stay sharp, and choose what kind of life you want to live. On your terms. What stood out to you most today? Was it the idea of co-housing with people you actually enjoy? The technology that keeps you safe without stripping away your privacy? The possibility of aging in a vibrant community where every day feels like an opportunity, not a countdown? These 7 trends aren't fantasies. They're happening right now. Quietly, steadily, seniors across America are proving that the old story about aging, the one about decline, isolation, and giving up, is falling apart. You don't have to settle for that old story. You get to choose how your next chapter is written. And here's what I want you to remember. Many of us didn't have this kind of vision growing up. We were taught to work hard, raise our families, and then quietly fade into the background. But that script is outdated. You've earned the right to write your own ending. So take what you've learned today and think about it. Talk about it with someone you trust. Because change doesn't always start big. It starts with a conversation, a new idea, a small shift in how we imagine what's possible. Your golden years don't have to be spent in silence, waiting for someone else to make decisions about your life. They can be spent in community, in purpose, in the kind of vibrant connection that makes every day worth celebrating. The choice, as always, is yours. And the best part? It's not too late to choose well. Thank you for joining me today. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Share one thing you learned today and how you might use it in your life. Your thoughts matter, and reading your comments gives me hope and encouragement to keep creating content that serves your journey. If you found this helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating content that informs and inspires. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.